The following people and interviews are all real.
In 2014, I lived with my auntie, uncle, and 2 cousins in Adelaide. One day, someone in the family did something that plunged the entire house into chaos. To this day, we still don't know who it was. We just know that it was one of us. It's been 11 years, and despite literally dozens of requests and an intervention, I can't seem to let this go. I'm Ray Lawrence, and I'm going to solve this mystery, once and for all. It began like any other day. I went for a morning swim, went to work, but when I got back home, I saw something I'll never forget.
It's flashes of chaos, panic, accusations. Yeah, I just have an image of my mum yelling.
It's quite heated coming home.
These are my cousins, Beck and Jack, and what they're referencing is the fact that someone had blocked the toilet with the biggest turd I've ever seen in my life. This caused friction between the entire family, but especially between me and my uncle.
Of course, I remember him and you arguing about it, and the famous recording being recorded.
It's clearly you. You clearly took a massive shit and you're trying to blame it on everybody else.
Oh shit, you know you're wrong and admit the truth. You know, stop passing the buck to other people. It's your responsibility.
Why is it my responsibility?
Because it's your shit.
It's not my shit.
I'm ashamed of it now, but as a 22-year-old aspiring comedian, this was a period of my life where literally anything was content. But I've matured a lot since then, and I'm only pursuing this story now so that my family can finally have closure. After more than a decade, fingers were still being pointed in all directions.
I'm suspicious of Dad and Nathan.
I think it was Jag.
I think it was you, Ray.
The one person I'm confident of ruling out from the get-go is my auntie, because it's common knowledge she does all her poos in the ensuite of her bedroom and never in the toilet where the incident occurred. Also, my cousin Nathan, who was out of the country when this whole thing happened, has convinced me that we can probably rule Beck out too.
Ask her, but if she says it wasn't her, it wasn't her. Because Rebecca, to a fault, does not lie. Jack and I make a thing of like, we'll ask her really personal, probing stuff in front of Mum and Dad because we know she won't lie. Like, she can't do it. All I can say to you is, if you ask Beck, did you do it? And she says no, she 100% did not do it.
It wasn't me.
Well, that's good enough for me. Before getting my investigation officially underway, I wanted to talk to someone who had experience dealing with cases as serious as this one. Through a friend of my wife, I was put in touch with Joe Mariola, the former police chief of Pepper Pike, Ohio. With over 3 decades on the force, maybe Officer Joe can give me some practical advice on how to talk to suspects and catch them while they try to lie, like the toilet-blocking degenerates they are.
Boy, this is a tough one, man. This is tough, especially it being 11 years now. And I'm sure the person that did this, the perpetrator, remembers it like it's yesterday because they were right there. So I think if you go back now as a cold case file and you start talking to these folks, to the family, the one I would be suspicious of the one that has the best memory and recall of it, because only the person that actually did it would be able to recreate that in their mind like that.
Presumably, you've had quite an extensive experience questioning people.
Yes.
Is there any particular philosophy you bring to that conversation?
You have to do background, and obviously, if this is a family situation, you're going to know the individual's background. you probably already know when they're lying. I'm not sure how old you are, but you've probably already caught them in lies. So you kind of know. Now, going into a cold investigation, what you want to do prior to the interview is you want to learn as much as you can about that individual. You want to know as many answers to questions prior to going into the interview. So, one of the questions: have you ever spoken to a police officer before? No. While you did your due diligence, you know there's a record of them being arrested. So, you already caught them in that lie. And just keep them talking. They're going to want to talk. And then you just ask very vague, general questions about that time period. And eventually they're going to slip up because they're talking so much and it's impossible to keep track of lies. There are people that do very well at it, but eventually they run out of what I call memory storage. The hard drive's full and they can't load any more lies or keep track of any more lies. And they start crossing up. And that's when you start directing your questions at those lies. And that's when you start to see them sweating. That's where you start to see them getting nervous.
Having been inspired by Officer Joe's advice, I decided to begin my investigation examining the one claim that could be falsified, namely my uncle's defense that it couldn't have been him because the crime scene contained seeds.
First of all, it's full of f***ing seeds. That ain't my shit. I'm not a bird.
Dad eats roasted almonds like all the time. The house smells like popcorn constantly because he just roasts almonds and eats them.
For the record, he also eats raw chestnuts, a lot. So I spoke with Brooke Pompey, a dietitian at Epworth Private Hospital in Richmond. I asked her if it was possible for roasted almonds and raw chestnuts to take on the appearance of seeds once passed through the body.
So what I'd be thinking, Ray, is that essentially when we pass something that is still in its original form, what that means is that there's been inadequate mastication of that item, and our digestive enzymes haven't been able to break it down because it's too high in fiber. Usually it's items that still have their outer husk intact or their outer skin. Think of things like corn, and little small seeds do come to mind. Things like linseeds or pepitas, or just little things that really you can't really chew that well, and they come out the other end looking pretty much identical as to how they went in. If we think about a chestnut is you have to take the outer, what would you call it, nut, I suppose, of the chestnut off, yeah, the outer layer of the chestnut off to be able to eat it. Inside it's quite soft. That would actually break down pretty well, I think. And I would say same thing with the almond, because you have to really give that a good chew to get through an almond. And you might get little flakes of the outer husk of the almond. But overall, I would say, no, you wouldn't be seeing a chestnut or an almond in fecal matter.
Could I have been wrong this whole time? Maybe Beck was onto something.
I think it was Jag, the key indicator being it was full of seeds. And Jack, he was a gym junkie. We all remember it, his f***ing yogurt bowls and leaving all his shit around the kitchen when he was just getting protein every day. That's the other thing, the protein.
Who do you think is the more likely culprit?
Mm-hmm.
The person I just described, who eats roasted almonds and raw chestnuts,
Mm-hmm.
or someone who is going through a heavy gym junkie phase, who would constantly eat a lot of protein, chia seeds, linseeds, and pumpkin seeds?
Oh, definitely that person.
Why?
Because linseeds pretty much come out looking exactly the way they came in. They went in.
It's not even a matter of debate for you.
No, I would say not. Linseeds and chia, they're very, very high in fiber, and they will come out the other end looking pretty much the same as when they went in.
Well, I guess my uncle can officially be ruled out. To be honest, I feel kind of bad that I ever suspected him. Although to be fair, it wasn't just me.
dad, I'll give him this. I haven't had as gross experiences with my dad as I have my older brother, but I do remember us having to share a bathroom at one point in Melbourne, and he bombed it pretty bad.
He would spend so long taking a shit. Like, he just doesn't even put the fan on. He just takes a shit and just hot boxes himself in that bathroom with the shit, just huffing his shit. Doesn't flush, just letting it f***ing simmer, getting all steamy. It's absolutely disgusting. If you ever have to use the toilet after him, if you have to use the bathroom after him, it's just like getting f***ing Mike Tyson punching you in the face with a glove full of shit. I will say he doesn't stay in the bowl too frequently. Like, I think he makes sure to clean up, but man, he just hotboxes that thing, and it would be like a war crime. It'd be like chemical warfare. You could totally Guantanamo Bay and get some information by hotboxing them in a room with his shit.
Out of everyone in that house, okay, my dad, like, he fucking tears toilets apart. He came to visit me in Melbourne that time. Remember, I used to live in Kew, and he was in the toilet for 45 minutes. And when he came out, like, literally everyone, like, I had to open every window in the fucking apartment because I was like, I live with someone else. You've devalued the fucking block. Who in that house is most likely to drop a fucking load that'll block that toilet? Dad. Like, there's not even, who else is it going to be?
The time had come for the two of us to speak, and it was clear from the very beginning of our conversation that there was still some hard feelings.
What do you remember about that day?
A false accusation, that's what I remember. A false accusation.
I discovered his sense of injustice was compounded by my cousin Nathan taking the audio I recorded and putting it in one of his plays.
It couldn't be just contained within that area, with that period of time. No, it had to extend beyond that, so everyone knew about it. I've been falsely accused for something I never did. I've always flushed the toilet, always flushed it. In fact, after I flush, I always look down to make sure it's gone.
All of a sudden, just when it felt as though all I would get out of this interview was my uncle's insufferable bitching, he revealed an absolute bombshell.
Jack has a strategy where he lines the toilet with toilet paper, so it saves him scrubbing it.
As in the entire inside of the bowl?
He reckons he strategically places the paper so he doesn't have to clean up after himself, I believe that he doesn't know he did it. Jack has a tendency to do something and then he gets distracted by a phone call or a conversation and then just leaves it and forgets that he's done it. And like he has cereal, fills up, a cereal or coffee in the morning, right? He puts the cereal, and it just stays on the sink and it stays there for the whole day. So and I go say, Jack, you having your cereal? Oh yeah, I forgot all about it. So what does that say?
He took the
Exactly. His goal is not to clean the toilet, because I used to accuse him. He said, you don't clean the toilet. Oh, no, I line it strategically. So however you interpret that, I don't know. I don't think he checks. Strategically placed. But yeah, right.
All of this was starting to make me feel differently about the conversation I had with Jack. Now that I think about it, when we play social deduction games as a family, like Resistance, Jack is very good at being the spy, because he knows how to deflect blame. Initially, I thought his strong insistence on blaming the poo on his brother Nathan, who wasn't even in the country at the time, was an honest mistake. I mean, it was 11 years ago. But now, I don't know what to believe.
Nathan has left lots of in the toilet, and you should speak to Beck. Speak to Beck about being roommates with Nathan and ask her about Nathan's patterns, because the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. You know what I'm saying? Nathan does have a terrible habit of leaving in the toilet, and it could be, it could be 50-50. Because he does come over and he eats out of the pantry. He does eat the almonds. Nathan, it wasn't a health kick. You know what? It could be a genetic thing. Maybe this is like a genetic trait. They both just leave massive in the toilet and don't flush. So yeah, that's my synopsis between Nathan and Dad. I don't think it's Ray because he's very autistic with his shits. I would talk to Beck about Nathan's habits and follow that rabbit hole down, because Nathan constantly leaves in the toilet too. And maybe that's a little twist.
The only twist I'm interested in is the one Jack clearly doesn't think is necessary after flushing.
Welcome aboard.
So I got a flight to Adelaide to learn more about this innovative system that's made cleaning the toilet a thing of the past.
So we appreciate you giving us your attention as we take you through some...
All right, take it away. And if you want to talk directly to the button.
So I think, might need to lower this, right?
Yeah, we can lower it. Thank you.
I've been informed that you have a system for going to the toilet that involves the strategic placement of toilet paper. Can you tell me about that system and what you think it accomplishes?
Yeah, so I do kind of like a safety blanket system where before I expel my bowels, I put down some toilet paper into the water in the bowl, so that way, it limits the cleanup and the splashback, and it kind of cocoons the waste and makes it easy to flush. I think everyone should be doing the cocoon system.
So the goal is to mitigate the cleanup.
110%.
Do you think you've placed too much value on the efficacy of this system?
Well, I mean, if it's 100% success rate, then it's hard to place too much value on it because it's working, right?
Is it possible you've become so confident you don't need to turn around and look in the bowl anymore?
I mean, there is a chance that, you get so complacent with the success rate of this system, the cocoon system, that you might, like the Chernobyl operators, you might just not look at it. I mean, it works, right? So why would there be a malfunction?
Jack was then kind enough to show me the cocoon.
All right, so this is the system. First, you get the lid, and then, so what we do is first I do like a scrunch, and I'll just kind of drop it in the water like so, right? And then I'll get like another bit, and I'll be like, okay, I want to like make sure these like edges are like kind of covered, And then, I mean, it's pretty wasteful, but and then. Yeah, I mean that's some good coverage. It looks like a lot, but it's spread out.
It's spread.
It's spread. You got to spread it. Like right there, you can see the single strips right there.
You said cocoon. It's more of a nest.
More of a nest. That's beautiful.
Okay, so you shit in that.
I shit in the nest.
And so the idea is to avoid skid marks.
Completely avoid, and also splashback onto the arse.
Okay.
No one likes splashback on your f***ing arse.
Interesting. Okay.
Moments later, my uncle joined the analysis, and there were 3 grown men in a toilet.
And then shit on top of it, and it's a big turd.
Yeah.
It probably blocked the toilet.
What do you shit on?
I shit in the bowl. Where's my?
So the water splashes your ass.
How big's your turd, mate?
You do massive shit.
But get out of here, mate! Jesus Christ! You got a splash down.
You
What
do
the hell?
massive shit.
Man, I'm not shit from the orbit.
At this point, I did what any good journalist would do: fan the flames and escalate the conflict.
He has too much confidence in the system. Doesn't even turn around to
Doesn't
look at
even
the bowl.
check.
Doesn't even check.
So you don't even scrub the toilet, do you?
This is a dragging. And by the way, right, this is more care than you've ever put into taking a shit.
Like you don't even look down the bowl whether you have or not. You don't even bother to check.
Are we gonna call
You just
Mum?
flush and
Should we call
go.
Mum?
Doesn't virtually confirm that it actually works.
I confirm it every day.
Yeah, you don't confirm it, Jack. You don't even look down and see if it
I
works.
confirm it every day.
Yeah, it looks like I said, people are suckers like me. Gotta end up scrubbing your shit.
We finally reached the end of this beautiful journey. I started this investigation looking for a wrongdoer, but in the end, I found a victim. Someone who was duped into believing a version of reality that never existed.
I believe that he doesn't know he did it.
I'm embarrassed to admit that the answer was under my nose since my interview with Officer Joe, but I guess my hubris wouldn't let me see it.
You have to look what could have caused them to block this toilet up. Now, it could be twofold. It could be the size or the extra amount of tissue paper that had to be used because something different happened at that time point.
So I saw it, and
Okay.
I'm telling you now, it was just the size of the dump. It was the biggest thing I've ever seen. It was a disgrace.
It might have taken longer than it needed to, but in the end, we finally got to the truth, and my family has become closer because of it. I guess in order for a caterpillar to become a butterfly, it takes a cocoon.